lot of these all at once because I have them all in my queue, but I try to make them separate videos. I have another post of a New York Times op-ed by a guy rejoicing in the name of Sandeep. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Jauhar, Jauhar. He and a bunch of others took to the New York Times and wrote, "We should expand the definition of death." And why? Because he says donor organs are too rare. And so, what they want to do is they want to increase the definition or change the definition of death so that more people can be technically dead, but not dead. They can be technically dead or legally dead, but not dead. And so they can go in and cut out their organs and sell them. Now, this is, I've long predicted there was going to be, now that die is kind of waning, and we're not as equality mad as we used to be, but we're still a great way, and a great deal of that. It's not leftist. We just changed focus a little bit. This idea of utilitarianism, where everything is just seen as a utility, and this form of scientism was going to increase, and here we have it. Now, medicine, he says, they say medicine declares a death on either two ways or another. The heart stops or brain dead when the brain has ceased to function, declared ceased to function. Now, but there's been many cases where these people declared brain dead have woke back up, and there's a good one coming. Maybe there's a guy named George Pickering. There's two guys, a father and a son, both with the same name. Young guy was declared brain dead after a severe brain injury, doctors diagnosed. He died. His dad had some kind of confrontation with either the hospital administrators or the SWAT team or something. I know this story gets exaggerated as it's retold and so forth, but he refused to let them unplug his son. They didn't. The father won, and eventually younger George Fils woke up. He even became a Christian. And there's another woman. You just search for these. I found a few that are interesting because they're relevant for our things. Madeline Gauran, a woman, she was in a coma. She was declared brain dead, and she was a candidate for organ donation. Woke up just before. Another guy named T. Scott Marr, he had a stroke. He was diagnosed with brain swelling. He was hooked up to some kind of life support. He woke up as they were removing it, which I think is funny. He was diagnosed only with near brain death, whatever that means. And my favorite, this one was just reported, just coincidentally, I think it was last week or the week before. It happened a while ago, but it was just reported, or at least I just saw it. Anthony Thomas Hoover II. In 2021, he went into a coma after ODing on some drug or medicine or something. And I'm going to read you the quote from his story. I'll have this at the blog. Hours after a doctor had declared him brain dead, Hoover awakened to find medical staff preparing to remove his organs. Even though the man cried, pulled his legs to his chest, and shook his head, officials still tried to move forward. Hospital staff ultimately became uncomfortable with the amount of reflexes Hoover showed, and a doctor ultimately refused to remove him from life support, and he ultimately survived. Can you imagine waking up, they're just about to grab your liver? Now, you could argue, and people do, that each of these cases, and there's many, many, many like them, each of them were misdiagnosed. They were not true cases of brain dead, but they were still diagnosed as cases of brain dead. So, all right, we could tighten up the definition of brain dead, but that's not what our new guy wants to do, Jahura or whatever his name is. They want to loosen the definition of brain death. If you're arguing that the brain death definitions were incorrect because of misdiagnosis, then you're agreeing that doctors often make misdiagnoses and declare people brain dead, not dead, brain dead, in order to get their organs. So we're going to be harvesting organs from people who are still alive or would have had a chance to wake up. Now, today, this is according to our guy here, whose name I can't pronounce, Jauhar. I apologize for getting his name wrong. I haven't heard it. Anyway, they want to, right now what they do is they take people who they diagnose in an irreversible coma, which is a loosening of brain dead. in a sense. They are wheeled into the operating room so they can cut out their liver and whatnot, and any life support is removed, and they wait 5 minutes. If nothing happens, if the patient doesn't respond or something like that, then they start hacking. Now, quote, this is not even, this is not quote yet, this is not acceptable to Jauhar and his compatriots because, quote, but even a few minutes of a stopped heart often results in damage to the organs. This deprives potential recipients of healthy organs and thwarts the wishes of donors to have their organs used to help others. It's the yes. Patients may have wished their organs to help others, but I think they meant it when they were dead, and not technically dead, which is of course not dead. Now, so like I say, this solution is not enough for Jauhar and his. It doesn't bring in enough bodies. The demand for organs is still greater. So they quote, the solution, we believe, is to broaden the definition of brain death to include irreversibly comatose patients on life support. So long as the patient had given informed consent for organ donation, removal would proceed without delay. Without delay. So we've already seen people declared comatose to be technically dead or legally dead, and they've woken back up, including that guy they were about to slice open. Now, if these people had signed organ donor cards, well, they're never going to have a chance to wake back up. We've already seen with the doctor killings, so-called assisted suicide in Canada and the Netherlands and other places like this, that the slippery slope is jumped right on and down they go. The eligibility criterion widen and widen and widen, and there's absolutely no possibility that's not going to happen here. So now they're saying irreversible coma. The temptation for doctors to make that there's two problems. The temptation to make the diagnosis of irretrievably comatose, especially if that person has a ripe kidney or something that they need, is not always going to be resisted. And then we have the definition itself. So now they're saying irreversibly comatose, but well, why not other diseases which are terminal, inoperable cancer or dementia. The person doesn't know what they're doing anyway. Alzheimer's. You make a guess. I don't know, but I imagine that's what they would try to do next. And if you doubt me on this, I'm going to give you the last quote about this, which I think proves that my suspicions about this are right. Quote, apart from increased organ availability, there is also a philosophical reason for wanting to broaden the definition of brain death. This is them speaking. The brain functions that matter most to life are those such as consciousness, memory, intention, and desire. Once these higher brain functions are irreversibly gone, is it not fair to say that a person, as opposed to a body, just a clump of cells, we've heard that before, has ceased to exist? So this is that machine metaphor I'm always warning about. This is why you don't want to have doctors do philosophy. Doctors are no more equipped to do philosophy or ethics or morality or theology than anybody else. Memorizing the names of bones does not give one special insight into philosophy. This machine metaphor that we're nothing but machines that can be taken apart and pieced back together is driving this kind of a thing, and that's a failed philosophy. It has some uses as a kind of a crude understanding of how the world works, but in particular it fails. And when these guys start to salivate over the treasures that can be harvested from people's bodies, we had best look out. That's it. A lot more down below, wmbriggs.com, wmbriggsubstack.com, and I welcome your comments on this. Thank you.